Well, Mother Nature has a way of making a fool of us all. As you can see, the snow's back. It won't be here long, but I'm happy either way. Something that's been bouncing around my head a lot, the concept of snow camo. Slippery. Poncho so fucking much. Overwhites. The cheap ones, which used to be European Cold War syrup, mostly. Used toilet paper, shits and tarn, German stuff with like the brown pine needle things, or, you know, whatever. A lot of that tended to be just cotton. Like the Schneetarn and stuff, even the repros kind of ended up a little expensive. I found some cheap Swiss snow poncho things. I grabbed one. Okay, so now you've seen some examples of high contrast, low contrast, and no contrast snow camo. And as you've seen, maybe one of them excelled today, or one of them excelled during the higher light, higher sun takes, and didn't do as well in the lower light, or vice versa. So, also today there's a lot less snow. It's very warm. I just had a t-shirt on under this. I'm a little hot. and I haven't been moving around in a little bit. So I don't have the liner in this either. But the point is, different snow camos are going to excel in different conditions. However, stocking 4 or 5 or 6 different patterns just for snow, unless you live somewhere very far north, or very high elevation, where it's 9 months out of the year, doesn't make sense for most people, and that's why it's not talked about that much, and that's why your options for snow camo are kind of limited and boutique and expensive. It's just really an economies of scale thing. So my advice would be to just sort of pick one. There are some material advantages for sure. Like I said, a lot of overwhites are just cotton. There's some like this that are completely waterproof, and there might be some poly cotton options out there which are kind of the best of both worlds. A little quieter, breathes a little better if you need it to, but not gonna just be a sponge, especially on a day like today, where I need overwhites, but it's also fucking hot. This is not snow, this is slush disguised as snow. And you saw me slipping and sliding around. So I feel like the high contrast stuff works best in really high light, early during the day, late winter, like now it's mid-March, or the low contrast stuff I feel like works better. Those dark days of December, later in the evenings, overcast days, where you're just not getting the amount of light, because there's no white in this at all, as you can see up against the white background. There isn't really any white, it's sort of an off gray, but the snow's kind of that color, and the fact that it glows helps because snow's luminescence, whereas this has white. It's blending pretty well with the bits of snow, but it's a highlight day, even though the sun is starting to set. And you end up in low light a lot in the winter. Low winter sun, short days, overcast conditions, you know. But in my opinion, this UCP stuff works well enough in the snow. They have the Gore-Tex covers, top and bottom. I would just go with those. They block the wind, they're waterproof, and they're more or less the correct camouflage. This Urban M81 stuff I had on, it's, I think it's effective, but I think the best bang for your buck would be the Gore-Tex layers in UCP. I don't know how much they go for right now. Last time I looked at them, prices are kind of all over the place. Probably best bet is to find it locally for cheap in a flea market, surplus store.